Imagine waking up one morning with no heaviness, no anxiety, no echoes of unfinished thoughts from the night before. Just steady breathing, a clear mind, and a quiet strength resting in your chest. Peace, the very thing everyone longs for, yet so few truly touch. In the rush of modern life, we've grown so accustomed to tension that we mistake it for normalcy. We let unhealed emotions steer our days. A careless word sparks. Anger, a setback breaks us down. An unmet expectation breeds confusion. The mind becomes like a leaf in the wind, easily swayed, easily lost. Yet the Buddha taught peace does not lie in a quiet world, but in a mind no longer disturbed by the world. Emotion is the foundation of our inner life. When emotions are unstable, reason fades. We react instead of understanding, resist instead of observing, suffer instead of learning. But when emotions are balanced, we see with clarity, respond with calmness, and live with a freer heart. Peace is not a random gift, nor a privilege reserved for the lucky. It is the fruit of practice. A single breath, a single pause, a single habit, when nurtured with awareness, can open the door to serenity. Many search for peace outside themselves in work, wealth, relationships, or distant travels. But they forget that every path ultimately leads back within. The source of peace does not lie in circumstances, but in the ability to keep one's heart steady amid change. Like a still lake reflecting the sky, only when the waters settle can we see the truth clearly. This video is an invitation, a journey back to yourself, back to the innate stillness that has always lived within. 7 small habits, yet powerful enough to transform how you see, feel, and live. When the mind heals, life softens. Peace has never been far. It has always been within you, waiting to be heard. Emotion is the hidden current flowing through every action, word, and decision we make. It not only reflects our inner state, but also shapes the way we perceive the world. When the mind is calm, the world appears gentle. When the mind is chaotic, everything seems distorted. One who understands their emotions, holds the compass of their entire life for emotion, is the root of behavior, thought, and destiny. The Buddha said, "The mind precedes all things. The mind is their master. The mind creates them." A single thought, fueled by strong emotion, grows into action. Repeated actions form habits, and habits shape destiny. Everything begins in the mind, where emotions are born. When we fail to master our emotions, the mind is tossed like a boat in a storm. A careless word becomes a dagger, a small misunderstanding becomes a chasm. Yet, if we learn to pause and observe before reacting, that very moment becomes liberation. Emotion is not the enemy, but a mirror of the inner self. It becomes a burden only when we suppress or cling to it. Fear, anger, envy, each carries a message if we would only listen without judgment. In Buddhist practice, this is called mindful observation of emotions, to look deeply in order to understand, and to understand in order to love. Once we comprehend the root of an emotion, it no longer controls us. A person may master 100 lessons on success, but without emotional mastery, they will still live in unrest. Conversely, one who keeps a balanced heart can remain serene even in adversity, like a lamp unshaken by the wind. Emotion is the root. Action is only the branch. When the heart is steady, life flows smoothly. When the heart is disturbed, everything unravels. Peace does not come from avoiding emotions, but from understanding and harmonizing them. When you can recognize anger as it rises, see sadness without sinking into it, breathe instead of reacting, that is the moment of freedom. The Buddha called it mindfulness within emotion, the state where you are no longer a slave to your mind, but its master. Emotion is the root of life, the heartbeat of the soul. When the root is strong, the tree of life flourishes. When the root decays, all outer effort is but temporary repair. Therefore, before seeking to change your life, learn to understand and nurture your emotions. When the mind is luminous, the world naturally brightens. And from that stillness, joy, wisdom, and happiness blossom like spring flowers after a long winter. Every morning is a new beginning, yet most people unconsciously repeat yesterday the same habits, the same moods, the same reactions. They open their eyes and are instantly pulled by the world notifications, news work, messages. The mind drifts with the external current, losing its center before the day even begins. The Buddha taught, "The mind is like a boatman. Without a rudder, the boat drifts wherever the current flows." Therefore, the first key to emotional balance is to begin your day with a clear intention. An intention is not a plan or a to-do list. It is the inner energy that gives direction to your entire day. It answers the question, how do I want to live today? When you plant a wholesome intention in the morning, it's like sowing a seed into the soil of your heart. Throughout the day, you will move through life with a different vibration. If your intention is, I will remain calm, then disturbances become only passing winds. If your intention is, I will act with kindness, even the most difficult person cannot shake your balance. In Buddhist teachings, it is said intention precedes all phenomena. Every action, every word, even our destiny, arises from a single thought. Therefore, setting an intention each morning is the art of mastering the mind. Observe for yourself. If you don't set an intention, your day will be defined by others, by your work, by someone's words, by circumstance. But if you begin with awareness, you no longer react to the world. You choose how to live. A powerful intention doesn't have to be long, only clear and sincere. For example, today I choose peace over haste, or I will listen before I respond. Repeat it silently as you wake, while washing your face, or during your first breath of the day. That is the moment you set your own energetic frequency. Whatever fills your mind will be reflected in your life. Like a candle in the night, a clear intention lights your way through life's chaos. It won't erase challenges, but it will help you walk through them with steadiness. And if you maintain this habit every morning, you will notice something remarkable. Life doesn't change instantly, but you do. Each day begins with purpose and ends with peace. This is more than a habit. It is a ritual of awakening, a way of declaring to the universe, today, I choose to be the master of my mind. Today's world is full of voices, but scarce in listening. Everyone wants to be understood, but few truly wish to understand. We speak too much, react too quickly, judge too soon, and in that noise connection quietly fades. The Buddha said, "To listen with the heart is an act of compassion. Deep listening is not about hearing words, but hearing pain, longing, and what has never been spoken. When we listen to another with presence, we help them heal, and in that process we heal ourselves." Deep listening means letting go of the need to prove, to argue, or to interrupt. It is the art of conscious silence, where the mind is not driven by personal opinions. When someone speaks, instead of thinking, how will I respond, you simply keep your mind still, like calm water, reflecting everything as it is. In that moment, there is no right or wrong, only understanding. The one being heard feels seen, and the listener finds a quiet refuge within. In Buddhism, deep listening is a form of active meditation. When you listen with the heart, you stop the endless stream of thought and return to the present. This practice not only improves relationships, but also frees the mind from automatic reactions. Much suffering arises from misunderstanding, and misunderstanding from the failure to truly listen. When you listen, you don't just hear words, you hear the emotion beneath them, the silence between them, and within that silence, wisdom arises. Remember the last time someone listened to you without interrupting, judging, or advising, simply being there. That feeling was peace itself. Now imagine offering that same gift to another. A single conversation can dissolve resentment. A single attentive gaze can soothe a wounded heart. A single mindful pause can reconnect what was once broken. Practicing deep listening is not difficult. It only requires presence. When someone speaks, stop what you're doing. Put down your phone, relax your body, look into their eyes and breathe. Each breath anchors you to the moment, allowing your ears to hear, not only with hearing, but with compassion. When you listen in stillness, you plant a seed of kindness in the soil of connection. For those who truly listen will in time be listened to, and in that exchange both hearts are illuminated. Deep listening is the bridge between understanding and love, between noise and peace. When you master this art, you not only calm the world around you, but also bring tranquility, clarity, and freedom to your own mind. Nothing drains the mind more than comparison. It begins quietly when we see someone more successful, more beautiful, or seemingly happier. A small thought sneaks in. Why do they have what I don't? From that moment, joy is stolen and peace begins to erode. Comparison is a subtle trap that keeps us running after others while forgetting our own path. The Buddha taught jealousy and comparison are flames that burn away virtue. For when we compare, we lose gratitude, and without gratitude, even the best of blessings feel insufficient. In the age of social media, comparison has become an unconscious habit. We see others' lives through polished images and carefully chosen happy moments, then conclude they must be living perfectly. But that is only the surface of reality. Everyone carries unseen parts, unspoken pain, private struggles, silent fears. Comparison is measuring someone else's outer life against our inner world, a battle that can never be fair. When we constantly measure our worth by others, we live in scarcity even when we have enough. This outward-looking mind makes us forget a simple truth. Each person comes into life with a unique journey. No one needs to be like anyone else, nor outshine anyone else. Happiness does not come from moving faster, but from walking the right path. When you stop comparing, you begin to see your own beauty, not through superiority, but through authenticity. Buddhism teaches right effort, not striving to be better than others, but to surpass the version of yourself from yesterday. Each time the mind wants to compare, turn inward and ask, am I better than I was yesterday? If yes, that is enough. When you focus on your own journey, you feel lighter because you no longer carry the burden of proving your worth. Letting go of comparison doesn't mean you stop learning. On the contrary, when you are free from envy, you can look at others with admiration and inspiration instead of insecurity. Then their joy becomes a reminder that goodness is also on its way to you. Every person is a different flower in the garden of life. Forcing yourself to resemble another only makes you forget your own fragrance. Remember, the mind cannot be peaceful while it still measures. Letting go of comparison is the first step towards self-respect, freedom, and true ease. When you no longer need to be above anyone nor fear being below anyone, that is when you truly begin to live fully, authentically, and peacefully as yourself. Some days the mind feels like a cluttered room, thoughts piled high, emotions tangled together, not knowing where to begin tidying up. Everything spins inside: worry, irritation, regret, fear. The more we try to suppress them, the louder they grow. In those moments, writing becomes a way to restore order to the mind. Like lighting a small candle in a dark room, each line you write shines light into the hidden corners of emotion, helping you see clearly what you've been carrying. The Buddha said, observing the mind is the path to liberation. Journaling is a way of observing the mind, not through logic, but through honesty. When we write, we step outside the storm of emotion and become the observer rather than the one swept away. We ask, what am I feeling? Why am I reacting this way? Merely asking begins to calm the heart. Often we don't even need answers, we only need to see, and in that seeing, peace begins to sprout. Writing is not for complaining or storytelling, but for releasing stuck energy. Each word and sentence is a breath that clears the inner path. When unspoken feelings are placed on paper, they lose their grip on the mind. Slowly, we let go of fears, entanglements, and nameless thoughts. Writing becomes a dialogue with yourself, a space where you can be honest without fear of judgment. You don't need to be a skilled writer or use elegant words. A journal is not meant for others to read. It is for you to listen to yourself. Begin simply, today I feel, or I'm grateful for. That alone opens the heart. Over time, you'll notice emotional patterns, what hurts you, what soothes you, what brings you peace. Awareness is the first step of transformation. Buddhism teaches mindfulness to observe emotions without judgment. Journaling is mindfulness in words. Each word is a breath, each page a mirror. When you write about sorrow, you realize it's not as terrifying as you thought. When you write about joy, gratitude blossoms within. Writing is the journey from chaos to clarity, from tension to tranquility. And the miracle is just a few minutes a day is enough. A cup of tea, a pen, a blank page, that is the space where you return to yourself. The more you write, the lighter your heart feels, the clearer your mind becomes. Because in the end, writing is not merely a way to clarify emotions, it is a way to purify the soul, helping you reconnect with the stillness and peace that have always lived within. Modern life keeps us constantly running to meet deadlines, to reach goals, to keep up with others. But the faster we run, the further we drift from ourselves. Amid this endless motion, stillness is not a luxury. It is a necessity for the soul. The Buddha taught, within stillness lies wisdom. Within movement lies the way. Meaning only when the mind stops can wisdom arise. And only when we can remain still amidst movement can we truly master our lives. Stillness does not mean withdrawing from the world. It means pausing long enough to see the world more clearly. Each day, just 5 minutes of sitting, quietly breathing, deeply observing your inhalation and exhalation is already a form of practice. In those moments, there is nothing to strive for, only to be fully present. Let all sounds pass like drifting clouds, and let the mind cease debating with the past or worrying about the future. When the body is still, the mind becomes still. And when the mind is still, life itself becomes illuminated. Many people say they have no time for stillness, yet it is precisely because they never stop that they lose time to fatigue and confusion. Stillness does not require long meditation sessions or complex rituals. It can be a few minutes sitting on your porch listening to the wind through the leaves, or a brief moment at noon when you close your eyes to take a deep breath. It is the moment you allow yourself simply to exist. In stillness, the outer chaos gradually settles. Like a lake that stops rippling, only then can it reflect the sky clearly. Likewise, when the mind is still, you begin to see the true nature of things no longer through the lens of haste or emotion. You realize that many of the problems you once feared are merely echoes of an unsettled mind. From that calm, wisdom naturally arises, and your actions flow from clarity rather than reaction. Stillness is the hygiene of the mind. Just as we cleanse our bodies daily, the mind, too, must be cleansed of the dust of worries and tension. A single minute of stillness can save a day. An hour of stillness can change a life. Within that quiet space, energy is restored, emotions balanced, and the mind returns to its natural equilibrium. Treat stillness as a sacred daily ritual. Early morning before the world awakens, or late at night when everything sleeps, just you and your breath. No need for perfection, no need for ceremony. Simply stop, sit down, and listen to the silence. For sometimes in doing nothing, you find everything, peace, clarity, and yourself. In the end, peace is not a destination, it is a way of living. It doesn't appear in rare moments, but hides within the simplest acts, a morning breath, a page of journaling, a minute of stillness, or a moment of listening without judgment. These seemingly small habits, repeated daily, weave a new structure for the soul, lighter, clearer, and freer. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. Just change one moment and repeat it every day. A stream doesn't need force. It only needs to keep flowing to smooth the stone. True transformation doesn't come from bursts of effort, but from the quiet continuity of awareness. Choose one habit, maybe writing down your feelings, setting a morning intention, or simply taking 5 quiet minutes before bed. However small, it's still a doorway into the realm of inner peace. Every repeated act not only shapes habit, but rewires the mind itself. Like planting seeds, you don't need to see the bloom right away. Only trust that each act of care brings you closer to spring. In Buddhism, there is a saying, when the mind is still, all things fall into place. When the mind is calm, the world becomes gentle. When you live with clear intention, listen with compassion, let go of comparison, write to illuminate your heart and make space for stillness, you are already walking the path back to yourself. Peace ceases to be a distant dream and becomes the natural state of your being. So don't wait for life to slow down. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Begin today. Take a few minutes for yourself to breathe, to observe, to write, to rest. Day by day, breath by breath, word by word, moment by moment, you will feel your mind transform from tension to ease, from confusion to clarity, and then you'll realize peace was never somewhere else. It was right here where you are. If this message resonates with you, choose one habit and begin now. Practice not to be perfect, but because you deserve to live lightly. Sow the small seeds of mindfulness today, and let each tomorrow blossom into a garden of peace within your heart. Peace does not come from searching, it comes from choosing to live it.